Good day. I am Sherilyn Drapeza and I am here to recite Section 701 of the CMTA. Section 701, Transaction Value System Method 1. The transaction value shall be the price actually paid or payable for the goods when sold for export to the Philippines, adjusted in accordance with the provisions of this section, provided that, first, there are no restrictions as to the disposition or use of the goods by the buyer other than restrictions which are imposed or required by law or by Philippine authorities, limit the geographical area in which the goods may be resold, or do not substantially affect the value of the goods. Second, the sale or price is not subject to some condition or consideration for which a value cannot be determined with respect to the goods being valued. And third, the buyer and the seller are not related, or where the buyer and the seller are related, that the transaction value is acceptable for customs purposes under the provisions hereof. For purposes of this act, a person shall be deemed related only if they are officers or directors of one another's business, they are legally recognized partners in business, there exists an employer-employee relationship between them, any person directly or indirectly owns, controls, or holds 5% or more of the outstanding voting stocks or shares of both seller and buyer. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other, and both of them are directly or indirectly controlled by a third person. Together, they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family, including those related by affinity or consanguinity up to the fourth civil degree. Persons who are associated in business with one another, in that one is the sole agent, sole distributor, or sole concessionaire, however described, of the other shall be deemed to be related for the purposes of this act if they fall within any of the 8 cases cited in the preceding paragraph. In a sale between related persons, the transaction value shall be accepted as basis for customs valuation whenever the importer demonstrates that such value closely approximates one of the following occurring at or about the same time. The transaction value in sales the unrelated buyers of identical or similar goods for export to the same country of importation, the customs value of identical or similar goods as determined under the provisions of Section 704 of this Act, or the customs value of identical or similar goods as are determined under the provisions of Section 705 of this Act. In determining the transaction value, the following shall be added to the price actually paid or payable for the imported goods, to the extent that they are incurred by the buyer but are not included in the price actually paid or payable for the imported goods: commissions and brokerage fees except buying commissions, cost of containers, cost of packing, whether for labor or materials, value apportioned as appropriate of the following goods and services, materials, components, parts, and similar items incorporated in the imported goods: tools, dies, mugs, and similar items used in the production of imported goods, materials consumed in the production of the imported goods, and engineering development, artwork, design work, and plans and sketches undertaken elsewhere than in the Philippines and necessary for the production of imported goods, where such goods and services are supplied directly or indirectly by the buyer free of charge or at a reduced cost for use in connection with the production and sale for export of the imported goods, and amount of royalties and license fees related to the goods being valued that the buyer must pay either directly or indirectly as a condition of sale of the goods to the buyer, value or any part of the proceeds of any subsequent resale, disposal, or use of the imported goods that accrues directly or indirectly to the seller, cost of transport of goods, imported goods from the port of exportation to the port of entry in the Philippines, loading, unloading, and handling charges associated with the transport of the imported goods from the country of exportation to the port of entry in the Philippines, and cost of insurance. All conditions to the price actually paid or payable shall be made only on the basis of objective and quantifiable data.